So you finally found that first winning product in your life. You're finally making the first 100 to 200k revenue in a month. And then everything just crashes down. The whole freedom you thought you were gonna have, it's all over. You wanted to buy that first Rolex, you can't anymore. Why? Because you don't have any consistency and you have no systems in your team. Now, I built a system in 2021 that is still working till this day like an old machine. One of the reasons why I was able to make over $32 million in revenue in the last 6 years. And I'm gonna be explaining it all in detail today on how you can do it as well yourself. Because it's not just about making revenue, no, it's about making consistent profits in your business that you can reinvest in other assets in your life so you can actually build a passive income. And this is not possible without a well-oiled system. So listen up. So what the average dropshipper does all the time, that's you, the average dropshipper. And then you might have one customer support rep in here, CSR is what I would say. And then you might have one guy who's helping you maybe with the video editing, and then probably that's pretty much it. You find that one product finally after working so hard, and then finding that new product again, it takes a lot of time. Because why? You probably have to test hundreds of products, which is totally normal. So what did I build 2021? A well-oiled system. So the way that we operate is that you have the CEO, which is in this particular case, for example, me. The first thing that you want to hire as a CEO, you have to look as a helicopter view to your business. So what do you have? In your business, you have the front end, obviously, and then you have the back end. Now, the biggest mistake that most e-com guys are making in the game, and I've been saying this for the past 3 years, is that they finally find all those winning products right here. They scale it without looking what's actually happening in here. Even though a lot of people say that they actually look in the back end and they try to scale from the back end to the front end instead of the other way around, they still make this mistake. And you know why they make this mistake? It's because they don't have the right systems. All about systems. The real money relies in the boring work. And honestly, this video is also very boring, but that is the whole point of it. Because the only 1% that are actually going to watch this full video are gonna understand what I'm talking about and are gonna understand my philosophy. Not just only the sheets and the value that I'm sharing, no, it's everything. And it's in the small details on how you can make sure that your backend is working properly. Because especially for dropshipping, and I'm not just only talking about fashion, because most people think that the whole systems and the stuff that I'm explaining is only important if you are selling fashion. It's not. Because what is the reality of dropshipping? The reality of dropshipping is that you are selling all your products from China, right? What does that mean? If you have a good supply, 5 to 7 days shipping time, the quality is something you can't always 100% control it. Even if you have crazy brand and you have checked the quality a lot of times, it can still be fucked up. And at the same time, guys, you are dealing with a way different culture and you're doing business with them. The way the Chinese people do business is not the same as people from the West. For your information, I'm born and raised in the Netherlands and with a Turkish background. So I've dealt with a lot of people as well. And I've been doing business with China now for 6 years. So with drop shipping, you gotta understand that not everything is gonna go perfectly. You can minimize this obviously if you buy stock, right? You buy huge and insane amount of stock and you place it, let's say, in somewhere in your own home country. But what do you then have to deal with? A bunch of taxes, and also at the same time, what if you don't sell out? If you don't sell out those products, what's gonna happen? You have all this stock laying around. The beauty about the business model with drop shipping that we're doing is that you can move quick, and the only way to move quick and still make good profits is to have an intense, very good backend. A backend that really understands and knows, right? So I'm talking about your customer support manager, your dispute manager, your customer support agents, that they really understand the policies and they also understand how to keep your payment processes alive, okay? So this is not a video for people who are just selling fashion. It's for every single niche. Because look, I have had the moments where I lost over 500K overnight because my backend wasn't the best. And then I made a lot of changes in my business, and now I'm able to scale, hence how it was possible for me to make multiple 8 figures in 6 years. So an oiled machine, how does it look like? So you have the CEO, right? And the first thing you want to have always is good managers in place. So what we have, for example, for the front end, we have a store manager. What does the store manager do? The store manager makes sure to look in the sheets of all the products that are being listed and checks as well with the supplier if they're also available at the same time, and also make sure, obviously, that they are being launched at the good times. What did Elon Musk say? Elon Musk said what is Elon Musk very famous for? Normal stuff in life, normal deadlines. Let's say if any other regular company in the world would say, hey, I want to get this done in 6 weeks. Elon Musk would say, you get it done in 2 weeks or you're fired. And he would actually fire those people. Read the book by Walter Isaacson, Elon Musk. Amazing book. I read it twice already. It's all about urgency. So what does the store manager have to do? Put a bunch of urgency on your team. Your store manager has to be cutthroat, right? Cutthroat. If you're gonna ask me, Farouk, what is one of the key things? Because you give all these lessons online, but what is the real reason why if I try your strategies, it doesn't work? Because it's in the small things. Our store manager is cutthroat. Make sure we hit the deadlines. And once you hit the deadlines long enough and there's an insane amount of discipline in your team, what is gonna happen? You will test more products and more creatives than your competitor. So my output is higher than most of my competitors. So what happens? The likeliness of me as well succeeding is higher. I fail more times than my competitors even try. So your store manager is key. And your store manager is the person who's going to be managing, obviously checking supply chain and checking with the agent, but obviously your product listers. All right, so your product listers are the people in your business who are importing all the products into your store. And if you have a one product store, let's say, then no problem. Then you don't even need to have this, right? It's excluded. It depends. But it doesn't matter what type of business you run, you need to have somebody on the ops, which is your store manager. And if you're running a brand, let's say, what does your store manager do? It's usually as well a bunch of supply chain management. I will talk about that later. So the next thing you have, guys, is your advertising manager. Now, what does your advertising manager do? Your advertising manager is responsible as well for scaling the ads in your company. Now, let me tell you, market research and media buying are the two most crucial points in the company to make money, okay? So it's not the product listers, it's not as well the people, the ads launchers. So the ads launchers are the type of people in your company that are just seeing in the Google Sheets what type of products or creatives needs to be launched in the ads manager, what the ad copy should be, etc. They don't think about the creative part. They just copy and paste what they see there and they post online. So those are the ads launchers. Your advertising manager is responsible as well for your media buyers. Okay? For your media buyers to make sure they're hitting the KPIs and they're actually as well making good profits for you. Because look, if one of your campaigns has a break-even ROAS of 1.5. So let me give you a nice example as well why the synergy between these two people is very important. Let's say, for example, you found an insane product and the break-even ROAS is 1.5, all right? And then you started selling it and you're scaling it in Ads Manager, and your media buyer, right, this person is seeing that the ROAS is 2.2 and he thinks, all right, I'm hitting a proper profit margin, or even let's say 2.5, I'm gonna scale it. Very nice and cool. But then the media buyer even the advertising manager has no idea how much supply there is of this product or how good the quality is of this product. So this is a lot of times where a lot of people make mistakes where they scale the wrong product. They're like, oh, in my store, the dispute rate, or let's say my refund rate in my store is too high, my payment process is getting shut down. If you're selling a bunch of products, it's not because of all the products. It is a few of those products that your media buyer, or even yourself in this case, have not seen, and you should have just stopped selling it because it's not worth it. The refunds are too high. Don't do it, right? It's that simple. And if you're in this case, if you're running only one product and you're scaling that insanely and you have that issue, I mean, obviously, then don't sell that product. But even if you have this one product and you have no idea how the stock, etc. is going, man, your advertising manager and at the same time as well, your store manager have to talk all the time. They gotta know what's going on in the business. Key points. So next up, and guys, this is a crazy helicopter view, right? I can even go deeper and deeper and deeper, but this is the key points I can talk about. So guys, next part. We're gonna be talking here about the backend manager, okay? So this is highly important. Outside of the fact that a lot of people, when they start e-com, so they have one product, it dies out, they don't have a constant flow of system where a product researcher finds new product and then sends them over to the product lister. Your product lister puts them in Shopify, and then from Shopify you get your whole advertising team to make the ad copy, edit the creatives, etc. with the video editing team. It gets launched by your ads launcher and whatever. The entire team here, if they don't talk properly with the backend manager, then you have no business. This right here, the backend manager, and the whole backend part in here, guys. right? Whoa, what you're gonna see. That is the heart of your company. And I repeat, if you do not dial in the backend, then you have no business. If this whole part of the company is not in synergy, that is the biggest reason. And so if that whole part of the company is not in synergy, that is honestly one of the reasons why people just fail. People don't have consistency. So what is the key point here for a backend manager to do? So what a backend manager should be doing in this case, most importantly, manage the CSR, the customer support agents for tickets, dispute agents, right? So the customer support is just for regular tickets, and dispute agents is for those if you have a credit card, PayPal, or payment processor disputes, you can handle them. And so what I find ridiculous is that even though I've seen so many people in my life who have finally built this whole system, most of them, of course, after listening to me, that they still didn't get the most important point, is to follow KPIs from your backend manager to the whole company. You remember what I talked about? Deadlines, right? Deadlines and KPIs, and most importantly, looking at the small details. So, for example, let's talk about it. A backend manager. What should a backend manager be checking? How many tickets a day is being done by every agent, right? Because that one has to be a minimum of 20, right? It has to be minimum of 20, even more, based on 40 hours a week, 8-hour shifts. Minimum. Next one, how many, all right, resolved tickets? How many are resolved? Put the KPI on that. Same. And then, how many are unresolved? This is for every customer support agent and for every dispute agent. What your backend manager should be able to keep track. And if you're gonna ask me how can I get a good backend manager, I recommend to go on onlinejobs.pa. At first, when you build out your company, start hiring a very good customer support agent, somebody who's not just an A player, but an A++ player. So what is a person like that? That person is not a passenger, but a driver. A passenger is somebody who just sits down in the car, just one looks around, just chilling. A driver is a person in the car or in the bus, let's say, who's always proactively looking around, is being responsible, because if he makes one mistake, everybody dies in the car. Deterred as well, can't sleep, have to be awake, needs to make quick decisions, boom, boom, you know, like Superman. That is the type of people you want to hire for a company. Every single person, or at least for the key roles, those people, they have to be drivers and not passengers. I will talk about this as well more later. So you find a driver who's a customer support agent. So you find a customer support agent on onlinejobs.ph who is a driver after firing a bunch of people, and then you promote them, and then this person is gonna hire other people as well in the company. Next up, dispute rate, right? The backend manager always has to make sure to know, what is my current dispute rate? What is my current refund rate, right? What is my current chargeback rate? These are only 3 of them. And then you can go even deeper. What is my dispute rate per product? And this one, the same, per product. This is how deep you should be going. And look, the biggest companies, as well as some big CEOs who are watching this video right now, because I know you guys are also. If you're selling supplements, or you're selling some random gadgets, or you sell something in the skincare niche, you probably have a big SKU. You're buying a bunch of stock, you know? So I'm pretty sure you also have to go as well about this, you know? The videos that I'm making right here are not just for people who are trying to scale from the first 100K to 500K a month, but also to their first 1 mil to 2-3 million a month, you know? These are the fundamentals of it, all of it. So if you ask your current backend manager to handle all of this, and if your current backend manager hasn't done this yet, give them 1 week to do it. If they can't do it within 1 week, you kick them out, get somebody else. That is the game. That is how you go about it. Let me give you guys as well a nice story time what happened to me. I had about a year ago, I used to have always people from India in my backend, and then what happened one day, I found out that they were fucking around, clocking in hours that were not the case. They had as well at the same time some mouse control. I found it all because I'm using the app called HubStuff. So every single employee in our ecom business, they're logged in, they clock in every single day to HubStuff. So in HubStuff, every 10 minutes, we get a screenshot, seeing their screen, seeing what apps they use. If it's suspicious, we get an email from HubStuff itself, and we can all see it ourselves. Sometimes you can't even see there's shit going on. So you can email HubStuff and you can ask them if they can do a grand diagnosis check in your HubStuff account, in the team members, and see if they can find something suspicious. So we did that, and what did we see? Oh, so it seems like there was a bunch of people trying to fuck us over. So we fired all of them, which were around 22, 23 people, and we hired a bunch of other people within only a week. That is how quick you gotta move. That is business. Cutthroat. I always say, don't hire slow, but fire fast. No, hire fast, fire fast. That's it. And something that my good friend who's doing 2-3 million a month also does within his customer support agents is he has like a big challenge he does every single month. So the person every 3 months who, for example, answers the most tickets and as well at the same time, which is the most resolved ones and just basically has the highest performance in the world business, the newest iPhone, you know? So you have all these agents, let's say agent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, fucking Stefana, fucking Petra, Anya, I don't know what the fuck it may be, and then you see a big graph of all of them here. This is Anya, this is Stefana, this is fucking Anya, and then you can see like which one is better and which one is worse, you know? And you can also do that and make it performance based also and give away some nice prizes. At the same time, you reward them, which is good karma, but at the same time also it's beautiful because they're gonna work so much harder, you know? And there's gonna be more of a culture within the company. You wanna build a real culture within your company. And so for me, honestly, this has been really the key pillars for us, how we have a stable and consistent e-com business going on in the last couple of years. And look, it wasn't always the most easiest for me as well. For me also, genuinely, right? I had a lot of downfalls in my life where I lost a lot of money, you know, especially the big hit in 2021 where I lost a bunch of money, you know, right? So in 2021, I lost over 500K. Yeah, that was no fucking joke. You know, that was really crazy. It still gives me nightmares if I think back about it. And that was all related to just having a horrible backend manager and just a whole horror backend just in general, you know? And yeah, that shit sucks. That shit sucks, honestly, but it's the game, bro. You just gotta deal with it. And then we made a really deep analysis, and then we went to start all over again. Because guys, usually it is not really the point of case in a lot of businesses, even if they say so, that it's going less good for them. It's because, oh yeah, why? Because if you see businesses falling down, it's usually not just because, oh wait, our creatives aren't good enough anymore. Oh wait, the market I was selling in is dying or is changing. No, it's usually because the CEO that is in place is not cutthroat. So you as a CEO, right? Let me give you my philosophy on running a business. And I'm talking out of experience and also talking out of reading a bunch of big CEOs, what I've learned. The average CEO, somebody like, let's say a motherfucking Elon Musk, right? So what is the most important parts? Of course, most importantly, you gotta lead by example. Okay? What do I mean by this? You don't just say to your team, yeah, do this, do this, do that, do that. No, either you have done it before for a very long time, very shortly before, or you're also doing it yourself. And you also sometimes, maybe you gotta test them as well. You gotta grind together with them. The big kings as well in the history who were like cutthroat and very good, they were always together, right? He was in the trenches. And that is how you gotta lead. Of course, you gotta strategize. But let me tell you this. If you look at strategy and execution, everybody always talks, hey, Farouk, give me the best product research strategy, the best backend strategy. But what is the fucking point if I give you the best strategies if you don't execute it properly? Because most people execute it very poorly. This is what it comes down to. What I showed you guys in the older slide is even if you have the right strategy for the backend, your execution is horrible. It's better, in my opinion, to have a bad strategy and a good execution than to have a bad execution and a very good strategy. Because what is the point if I give you the best strategy ever if you don't even properly execute it? If you're not dialed in, nothing, right? So a good CEO understands execution, strategy, all right? Know your numbers. Key, know your numbers. Right? You gotta know what's my discount rate in my store, what is my chargeback rate, what is that? Okay, how many products a day are we launching? How can we go crazier? And a real CEO is always thinking about how can I leverage shit harder, okay? So it's all about leverage. Okay, now I'm doing Facebook ads only. How can we also leverage with my team to do TikTok ads? How can we maybe enter Amazon TikTok shop? All right, we're testing 5 products a day. Why not 10 a day? We don't have cash flow. Okay, we're gonna wait a bit and then later we're gonna start. If you do have the cash flow, especially on those levels, I expect you to have it. You need to push harder and harder. Okay, if not products, let's focus on dialing in a more creative system as well. So the biggest difference, right, is not just only in finding that winning product, that winning strategy, or whatever. It's about systems, you know. So a CEO has to be really busy and just finding ways to improve the system all the time and be on the field, aka in the arena. Yeah. So a CEO is in the arena. A CEO is not just thinking about strategy and stuff all the time. He's in the arena, talking with their people and especially with their managers, right? That's what you want to have. If you remember, guys, in this slide, the CEO in here only should be talking with these. All the other ones should be totally neglected and skipped. That is what it's all about, you know? And this is what I do also. I only talk with my managers. And if you even go a layer higher, right? If you get to a certain level, which we also do, so you're going to hire a COO. So as a CEO, you only talk about CEO. You're gonna tell your CEO, you're gonna tell your COO, hey, why are we only doing 500K a month? Why can't we scale to 1 mil a month? I see that we have these and these opportunities in the game. Why is it not happening? And then your CEO is gonna be like, oh yeah, but it's like this, you know, like we already tried it and it didn't work. And then that issue. All right, okay, we have that issue. Why are you telling me it takes 3 weeks to solve it? I'm giving you 1 week. Solve that shit, you know? And then if he does it, amazing. And then a few times, if it happens, he can't meet the deadline, then you go ahead and do it yourself. You go back into the motherfucking arena and you show motherfuckers around you, hey, look, if I can do it, why can't you? Am I that special? You know? And if they're gonna still feel very hopeless, you just fire a bunch of people. I did that countless of times. Fire fast, hire fast. Fuck it. Because every single time in my life, guys, like I'm speaking of experience, every single time in my life when I felt like, yeah, I maybe should give this person one more chance. Maybe I should train this person a little bit more. I was always wrong. My gut feeling every single time, if it was bad a little bit about a person, it was always horrible. It never got better every single time. I'm telling you. So don't think about it too much and just fire people immediately. You know? We have, for example, a backend agency called Titan Skill where we help people with their backend, and every single time they see our team, they're like, oh shit, they're so dialed in, and then we get these good reviews. It's like, yeah, bro, these are the same people who are helping us run our stores, you know? And yeah, these are really key components, guys. Hella important. So of course, guys, I can go even 10 times deeper. You know, I can make this a fucking 2-3 hour video if I wanted to. I hope you guys get the point as well in what is important and what it really takes to have an e-com business that is just smoothly sailing, and this is what it takes. And guys, that is why at this point for my e-com businesses and especially my fashion stores, I don't really do so much work, you know, because it's just a smooth oiled machine. I managed to do that, and it's the reason why I can focus on my other business ventures. So anyway, guys, that was pretty much it. If you're interested to learn from me as well and to see as well how I can help you as well with your e-com business, check out the link below, book a call with my team, and let's chat. E-com Legend out. Love.